out of the clouds. It was just breathtaking. And one of my colleagues often puts some very good thoughts, actually. He's a naval chaplain down on the south coast, and he obviously is in a very safe place where he can just go wandering late into the night and just enjoy, particularly in this moonlight, enjoy the wonders of God's creation. And that was his posting the other day, was just the awe of who this Creator God is. And I wonder, do you often have wow moments? Or you actually, it causes you to stop and look again. And in response to looking again, actually saying to God, God, you are amazing. You are an incredible Creator. We need to do that. Sometimes we get so caught up in the busyness of life that we walk right past inner beauty. Imagine you who have had children or grandchildren. Imagine the beauty you would have missed out on if you didn't stop and listen to the wonder of your children or grandchildren, the amazement of their little comments, their insightfulness, where they haven't learnt yet what you say and what you don't say in public. I'm sure they're moments you all treasure. God treasures us when we say those things and acknowledge His beauty and the amazement of who He is. You know, in our reading from Corinthians, it's a bit of a reminder that sometimes we get caught up in being in competition with each other rather than realising that we're all actually on the same side, working for the same God, each doing our bit that God has gifted us to do. Some people are the ones who can talk about the number of people they've brought to faith. And you've probably heard people talk like that. You know, they brought someone to faith yesterday. But that person who was brought to faith, there were many people over the years who have watered them, sown seeds, watered, nurtured, that they were ready to accept for themselves who this God is and who Jesus is as their Saviour and friend. So we're all on the same side, we're all working together, sharing the gifts we've got. Some have the gifts of music, some the gifts of words, some the gift of hospitality, some the gift of prayer, some the gift of encouragement, some the gift of knowledge. What is your gift? And how are you using it to serve our God and all God's people? Now, there are many little examples in our Matthew reading today. And I have to say, every time the divorce one comes up, it's a difficult one. One day I actually went round in my mind, because when I think of you all, and during the week, I actually think of you and of where you're sitting, because most of you seem to sit in the same sort of spot. And so when I'm going around, that's when, you know, if I'm thinking of you or praying for you. So if you want to confuse me, sit somewhere else. But divorce is something that has impacted on the life of this congregation quite deeply. Because when I went around the congregation, including for my own self, there's very few of us who have not been touched in one way or the other by divorce. There's not many of us. So we need to be kind to each other when we talk of divorce. But you know, if you think about all the examples that Jesus has spoken about in this Matthew reading, they're all coming down really to a common denominator. And it's all about how we treat each other. It's all about, is your heart inspired by God? And therefore, is your attitude and behaviour toward others inspired by God? Can you see that that's the common theme that's going through each of those examples that Jesus talks about? Anger, lust, broken relationships. You know, this is a reading when I was a young, I would have been about 18, 19. This particular reading I found very confronting, because I used to call my second brother, "Oh, you fool, you idiot," which of course none of you have ever done to your brothers or sisters or anybody. And then I read this passage. I never called it to him again. Well, it wasn't very encouraging, was it, to say that to my brother? It was, you don't say those words unless you're actually putting someone down. They're not building up words. And that's really the point of the whole reading from Matthew today, is we need to. And the brother that I just spoke about, Michael, said to me last week or the week before, he said to me, "I've kept that piece of paper because those words are so true. They are so true." They're simple words, but it's saying children learn what they live. And what that means is you and I are products of our upbringing. We are products of our schooling. We are products of the homes from which we come. And what it says to me, how important is it for parents particularly, and grandparents, as they teach their children important life values. Now, the other day, I was at a function where this particular person that we were remembering had a hard life, a very hard life, had shown some aggression at different times in her life. But people who actually forgave her for her aggression and got underneath that aggression spoke about a good relationship with her. Now, I was talking to someone who knew her when she was about 60 or 70 years ago. So it's someone who knew her when she was very young. And in 5 minutes I absolutely understood why she was the way she was. Abuse. Came from a family of hard knocks. That often in those days people kept people in their pockets of hard knocks. So she was actually a product of her upbringing. And maybe her parents before her didn't know how to truly love and nurture their children well, that their children could become everything that God intended for them to come. Anyone ever been called dumb? I had a teacher once who said to me at school that I was working above my IQ level. Now, I can laugh at that now, but there was, at the time, I don't think I actually really understood what he'd said. That might say something about my IQ level. But at the time, I don't think the power of those words hit in. But as I aged, those words came back to haunt me. And I needed to actually take those to God to forgive my teacher, it was my geography master, to forgive him for those words. He may not have thought about the power of those words. And I wonder what words you need to forgive that someone has said to you, or maybe what do you need to ask forgiveness for that you've said to another that you know was unkind, but at the time you were angry. But that person has gone away thinking that that's who they are. I think we could read this together, don't you? It's 3 or 4 slides, but what I'm inviting us to think of is, if we need to say sorry to someone, do so. And just before we read these words, there's a part in the communion service. I don't know if you think about how the communion service goes together at times, but there's two different ways of doing communion, apart from coming to the front or sitting in our seats. In the communion service, the words can be spoken. If you have anything against a brother or sister, go to them now, before you come to the table. Now that is following the words that have come from Matthew. The other way of doing communion is to know that the Lord's table is an open table, and we come and we allow God to do the changing and sometimes the confronting that might remind us of someone that we might need to go and be reconciled with. So there's 2 ways. It's either before we receive communion or after. If I had a preference, I actually think it's receiving the elements in our brokenness, and in receiving those elements, the bread and the juice, that causes us to see our need, and then God gives us the strength to respond. But each way is valid according to Scripture. But let's read these words, and let's read them with a spirit that says, Lord, teach me how to treat all your children, not just the little people, but everyone. If children live with criticism, they learn to condemn. If children live with hostility, they learn to fight. If children live with fear, they learn to be apprehensive. If children live with pity, they learn to feel sorry for themselves. If children live with ridicule, they learn to feel shy. If children live with jealousy, they learn to feel envy. If children live with shame, they learn to feel guilty. If children live with encouragement, they learn confidence. If children live with tolerance, they learn patience. If children live with praise, they learn appreciation. If children live with acceptance, they learn to love. If children live with approval, they learn to like themselves. If children live with recognition, they learn it is good to have a goal. If children live with sharing, they learn generosity. If children live with honesty, they learn truthfulness. If children live with fairness, they learn justice. If children live with kindness and consideration, they learn respect. If children live with security, they learn to have faith in themselves and in those about them. If children live with friendliness, they learn the world is a nice place in which to live. And if children live with the love of God in their hearts, they grow to be people of God, who know how to be disciples, who know how to love God with all they've got, and everyone around them, even those with whom they struggle, in a spirit of love. Our readings from Matthew are saying our relationships need to reflect the love and goodness of God. Is your relationships reflecting God's goodness? and life. And if they're not, God is there to help us, to encourage us, and to love us as we learn to better love. Amen. What a friend we have in Jesus. who we are. And Lord, may we grow more like you. In the name of Jesus. Amen.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Remember, there's a cup of tea over in the hall. There's also, but not jump the gun. Next week we've got stewards, Gloria and Bev, flowers are Andrea, and morning tea is Isabel Muir and Asha. Doing it for me, cool, thank you, because I will be not here. And Joyful Creations, Ray and Reverend Jean. Those that haven't done it, please pass on your songs for the hymn request to Reverend Jean so she can include them in. Come now at morning tea this morning, there is a lovely looking trading table over there. It looks pretty good. And all the proceeds are to go to Joyful Creations. So please go along, have a look, purchase something which will help to purchase pieces of baby articles that can be given to our little babies up at the hospital. Now on the 3rd of March we've got World Day of Prayer here in our own church. This was put on us for the month to work it all out. So I think, how are we going, Jean? Okay? We'll get there, she says, right. So if anyone can help, perhaps they can just talk to Jean afterwards. The Evening Ladies Fellowship resumes on Thursday at Jackie Watts' home at 7:30. All welcome, come along, bring your ideas for an interesting program. Now Jackie Watts has asked me to say that next Sunday there will be a church council meeting. So those of you that can go to that, please, about 11 o'clock I presume, Nick, you right? I don't know how many of us are going to be there, but anyway. So you're all away too? Well, if there's nobody here, I guess they'll put it off, but anyway. Hopefully there'll be one next. Yes, Presbytery. Because of Presbytery we're running. All right, I think that's all I've got to.
I was just going to give a reminder about the Burren Bucket Hay Run. I've got a bucket over there, but we're not quite sure what's actually happening, but yes, we still will be passing on any money we raise to... Dave's definitely going, so... Right, and we had an offer of some more hay this week, so it'll just come together. But the other thing I did want to mention that Ralph is in hospital. He's had pain in his leg for a few weeks and it got worse last night, so I just would ask you to pray for Ralph. Thank you. And we just have JR's picture up there, just in case there's any that aren't sure of who JR is, and Norma. But JR now is up in Wesley Hospital, which is good because it means he's got 2 daughters up there. And Tracy particularly has time to look out for her mum and dad, and that'll be good for Norma. So the JR's, the text I got last night from Kerry, their daughter, was, he's up there, it's good, he needs rest, rest, rest for the healing of those vertebrae that he's cracked. So yeah, so that's good, he's there. And they're very grateful for your support and encouragement. And because JR considers his little church family very special to him, to he and Norman. So we pray God's healing on him.
I'm going to try and talk and I'll see how I go. Michelle is Michelle and Craig are very, very thankful that you've been praying for them. Michelle looks amazing, feels amazing, and is amazing, which is incongruous to what maybe the doctors are saying. So we are all hopeful for the miracle of healing. Like we're praying and we're hoping. And a lot of silver lining in what has happened. The girls are both really, really happy at their new schools. They are just, they're amazing. What they're doing is amazing. The girls are amazing. Craig is amazing. And I think they're leaning more towards treatment in Tamworth, and she's hoping to go this week for planning, because if she can start her radiotherapy, they're aiming for a big holiday at the school holiday time together. So that's where she's aiming. They don't want a lot of fundraising. The girls that are together helping, we're trying to do practical things. So we're trying to pay for their phones and phone plans and petrol so they can get around, stay in touch. We're also trying to raise money to their western wall, and particularly this week, their western wall has never been insulated or painted, so we're trying to do that for them. So practical things. If anyone did want to give any money, I would pass it on and say that you're thinking of them, but they're not wanting a big deal. And I know that they would appreciate, and they appreciate visits and things, but I know they would appreciate any sort of food that could go in the freezer, but not, again, loads and loads, but just some that they can pull out, you know, when it's a really hot weekend. But she is amazing, and she is very thankful, and I'm very thankful, and yeah, we've got to keep praying and hoping, and yeah, but lots of good has come out of it, and the road ahead is going to be tricky, but who knows where that road is going to lead.
While she's got such amazing friends like Jack, well, she's very blessed to start with, and for all the friends that support them. We did have two good news this week, which was wonderful. Isla Aria Rose has arrived. Yes. She was 8 pound 1, and I think she'd only lost 200 grams of her birth weight on Friday, so she's doing very well. Shannon needs a little bit of, she's home, but Shannon needs a little bit of healing still, because it was ended up a cesarean after all that inducing. So we just pray for that good healing, and all the good humour in the house now that there's a baby in the house as well, for Adam and Shannon, and for little Sterling, and for Eliza. So that's wonderful news. The other good news, you might remember Mary English one day when she was here, came and spoke about what's happening to her son Andrew, who had acute leukemia, and he's actually doing well. He has responded to the bone marrow, and he's doing well enough in fact that he and his brother Andrew and David, I get the two boys' names mixed up. Andrew is the one who has been unwell, and David has a chronic condition for a long time. In about a week's time, they're going down to visit their mum in her new home in Tasmania, where she's very happily settled. So that's good news, and it's great that Mary has found a place where she's happy to be. So there's good stuff happening, and even out of the hard stuff, there's good stuff. And we can be thankful for God for that. So let's pray. Father God, you've heard the people that we would want to pray for in our congregation today particularly. And Lord, we hold before you Michelle and Craig and the girls. The treatment, Lord, we just pray for that road. We pray for the miracle of the road to lead to full healing. Give them courage and peace and all the things that they need in that journey. Thank you for the people who surround them and love them. May they too find peace in that journey. Father, we pray for JR and Norma, and Lord, we know that Patience and JR don't go terribly well together because he's a doer, but we just pray for that Patience for his healing. Lord, we pray too for Ralph, for his faithfulness, and Isabel Morrison too for her faithfulness, as they both are struggling a little at the moment with their health, and we just pray for peace for them. We pray for Marie too, as she supports Ralph. Father, we pray for any in our congregation who needs special prayers. You know our hearts, you know our needs. But Lord, we pray too for the world in which we live that desperately needs your presence. So Lord, we just pray, may we live lives that are worthy of being your disciples. Because Lord, it's when we live as your disciples that the light shines and hope can be seen and experienced. And Lord, we just pray, fill our hearts with hope. When the going's good, remind us, and may we be willing to thank you. When the going's tough, may we still thank you, because you are there with us. So Lord, I just pray that you will hear each one of us, our concerns, our joys, and particularly this morning, where maybe there's room in our relationships with others that need healing or reconciliation or forgiveness. Lord, show us. And then I pray, Lord, give us courage to do what you would want us to do as we follow in your footsteps. I pray in the name of Jesus, who taught us to pray together, Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our sins, as we forgive those who sin against us. Save us from harm, deliver us from evil. For the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours, now and forever. Amen. So is there anything you want to report, Mrs. Hudson, from your time out in the chapel? Not this morning? Did they have a good time? Excellent. Well, we're going to stand. And we're going to sing the first, about 4 verses, I think. Then there's the blessing. And then we're going to sing the last verse as a blessing song today. So let's stand and sing, Oh Jesus, I have promised. This week will take us in many different places. Beyond this week will take us in many different places. But may we, as we take that road, even if we're not sure what's around the corner, Maybe we be willing to take that road, trusting that God is there with us, carrying us when we need to be carried, walking beside us in the good times, and sometimes encouraging us along when we are hesitant to journey. And as we journey, may we know the fullness of God's love, the fullness of the peace that passes all understanding. And may we be willing, by the lives we live, to fly the flag of our Saviour Jesus. May the blessing of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit be upon each one of us this day and forevermore as we continue on our journey and place our footsteps in the Master's footsteps. Amen.
It's so hot, the cameras are overheating.
What's that?
The cameras are overheating.
Oh, pretty hot.
It's too hot.
Yeah.